How's it going, everybody? This is going to be my spotlight on my collection video. I'm going to be doing some kind of spotlights on different sections of my media room and different parts of my collection. And I'm just going to kind of do like random pulls and just kind of talk about the media I pull. And like today, as you can see, I'm gonna start out with my laser discs. I just kind of want to show I don't do a lot of stuff with my laser discs, and I wish I did a little bit more. And I'm going to start doing more with them and reviewing some of them and talking about laser discs a bit more. But we'll kind of get started today with I'm just going to do like random pulls from these shelves. Later on, we may more thoroughly go through these, but we'll start with this section here, and we'll go through some of these discs and see what you guys have to think about them. Hopefully everything turns out good. I'm experimenting with this video setup and lighting setup, so we'll see how everything turns out. Alright, let's see what we got here. We'll just pull one random movie. Oh, this is a... There you go. Little Giants. Rick Moranis movie. Ed O'Neill, obviously. I bought this one. This is sealed. I've never even opened this yet. As you can tell, it's got a little bit of a wonky corner on it. Here's the back of it. You can see it there. It's a sealed copy. I haven't opened it up yet. It's just one of those movies from the 90s when I was younger that just, I don't know, it's not a great movie, but it's just a fun kid movie, kind of a kid adventure movie, and I don't know, it's just it's this it's kind of on the same lines as maybe like The Sandlot and things like that. Not as good as obviously, but it's kind of fun. So let's put that one back in. Now you can see kind of how we're going to go here. There's a couple more here. Let's see what this one is. All right, there we go. There you go. The Hounds of Baskerville. And you can see this is the Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee Sherlock Holmes movie. This is a pretty good one here. I'm not going to pull everything out of here. I can't remember if I've sat down and watched this. No, I haven't watched this copy of it yet. I've seen this movie, but I haven't watched this copy. This is a sealed copy of this. And this is as you can see, that's the letterbox edition of this. I love Sherlock Holmes, and I love all the different movies. And this is, when I seen this, I was like, oh my goodness, this is like... this is kind of like Hammer. This is like Hammer, the Hound of Baskerville. I was going to see if Hammer had anything to do with this. Yes, this is a Hammer film production. That's why I bought it. I couldn't remember. Yeah. Sorry, I sound like I don't know what I'm talking about. I haven't watched this movie in a long time. But yeah, this is a Hammer, if you can see it there. This is a Hammer production. Pretty cool stuff, isn't it? Some people don't know this stuff exists, but it's pretty awesome. If you don't know who Hammer is like a British film studio, essentially. They made movies from the, I guess from basically the 40s on. They kind of started, they're essentially known for their horror. They're a horror company. But they actually started out in some sci-fi. They have a few sci-fi movies to begin with that are really good. And there's a big bunch of Hammer movies out there if you want to kind of do some research and look into them yourself. Let's see what we got next here. This is a movie. Here's an oddball. I'm pulling out a lot of oddballs today. This is Brainstorm. This is Christopher Walken and why am I forgetting? Natalie Wood. I'm sorry. It's Natalie Wood. This movie I think this movie was made like right before she died. She supposedly drowned in a boat. and actually Christopher Walken was there that night when she drowned, and there's a kind of a whole mystery surrounding that. I don't want to go into that today. But this movie basically got pulled. It's very rare. It's rare to see it in physical form. I don't know if I showed you the back or not, but there it is. But it's this is it's a pretty interesting movie. I was trying to see who directed this movie. Let's see here. I can my eyes are good enough. I can see these on the back of these sleeves. They're big enough. Okay, Douglas Trumbull. But I haven't watched this movie yet, believe it or not. I think this is not sealed. Okay, so I can show you a little bit about it. This is the first sealed one I've basically come towards. Now, this is an MGM disc, and I love MGM sleeves. Their inner sleeves look like this. They're like kind of an off-white. They're like an eggshell, maybe cream colored, and they're heavier paper. They're not cheap. When we come to a Laserdisc that comes with just your typical inner packaging you see on Laserdiscs, are cheap. That you see, if you can see this, I'll pull the disc out here. You can look at it. If the camera picks that up, you see the inner poly in there. That's like a poly plastic. That's kind of what's generally they make poly plastics for vinyl, and they make it for Laserdisc, but the cheap Laserdisc sleeves that come with some of these just have like a poly wrapping on them. There's no paper that holds them in place like these. You can buy replacements. All of my discs, I buy replacement sleeves for all of those, and I've thrown away hundreds of those sleeves because they're cheap. But this is a Laserdisc. This one's in pretty good shape, and my stuff keeps sliding off there. If you heard it, there's a Laserdisc, A and B side. Laserdiscs work on two sides. The reason why they look like a CD but don't hold near as much space is because the audio on a Laserdisc is digital, but the video is still analog. So that's why you don't really get higher. Back in this era, you didn't get very much higher than videotape quality, which is somewhere in the neighborhood of it's like 280 or something like that, I think, or maybe like 230p or something like that. And Laserdiscs are up in like the 320. They're obviously they're definitely in better, they're a little bit better, but for the most part, if you get a really good transfer, just like you did, if the company who's putting out the disc put a lot of time into transferring the movie over and remastering it, essentially, if they did a good job, they look real good, and if not, they don't look much better than videotape. It really sucks. You get great audio and crappy video. There's two different formats in Laserdisc. I apologize, I don't have the format set out here. Sometimes I forget little things like that, but there's basically a long play version, and there's two formats, and it's just basically one of them is higher quality, but the higher quality version comes at a cost of, you only have 30 minutes per side. These have 1 hour per side. So most movies you can get on one disc, but those are in fact, I'll show you one here in a second. That from these up here are my Criterion collections. We'll get into those another day, but I will show you one Criterion, which is really cool. This is Pulp Fiction, not available on Criterion on any other format. Not even DVD had Pulp Fiction. I'm pretty sure Pulp Fiction wasn't on DVD. I'm positive. But these are called they're CLV and CAV. They're CAV and CLV. CLV is your standard length disc, which is an hour a side, and CAV is your higher quality, but you're limited to 30 minutes per side, and this is one of them. This is probably like 6 sides. So even if you have a machine that flips sides for you, you still got to change the disc like 3 times. But you get a lot better quality. And back in the day, a movie like this, especially with the digital sound, this booms. And there's just something about Laserdisc that I don't know, that you got to experience a Laserdisc to understand it, but there's something more cinematic about the experience, because to me it is. There's something, well, I don't know if it's more cinematic, but it's usually the transfers are rough still. They didn't use as much digital processing technology to remove blips and scratches and things from the film, so they tend to have a rougher quality, and you just feel like you're getting more of a theater experience with it. Other than that, a lot of times the quality's not that great, but that's the first thing that struck me the first time I watched one. It was just it just feels different watching a Laserdisc. It just feels right. I don't know how else to explain it. We'll dive back in. I'm not going one after one. Okay, we're getting something cool here. Look at this. We've not got into a batch. There's probably Back to the Future batch here. There's Back to the Future 3. This is the letterbox edition. There's the back of it. These are just a CLV. I'm sorry I forgot the CLV, CAV. It just slipped my mind for a few minutes. But as soon as I seen CAV on another one, I was like, yeah, I know. It's CLV. Okay. And that stands for like capacitive. I forget. I don't have my computer in front of me in this situation, so I can't look it up. But it's like capacitive. Like CAV's like capacitance, angular. I can't remember what the V stands for, but it's just basically the angle of the laser, the way it hits the disc. It allows for higher quality. I don't think there's much difference in the manufacturing, except for they just, it's kind of it's in a similar way. It's kind of like Blu-ray versus 4K. You can just put more information. It's kind of the reverse, though. You put less information than 4K versus, the more information, the less compression. On this is the less information, the more compression, or the more compression. I got myself confused there. But the less information, I guess, the less compression. So, yeah. But this is pretty cool. Seems like this one's it's like red, if you notice. So let me see if I'm in order here, so I can. Yeah, here we go. Here's Back to the Future Part 2. I'll pull them all out together so I can stick them all back in together. Here's Back to the Future 2, and see how it's blue. Seems like Part 1's blue as well. Let me see here. Yeah, but Part 1's a lighter blue. But I guess they all three changed just a bit. But that last one went red for some reason. But these are all the Back to the Future Laserdisc letterbox editions. I generally, when I buy Laserdisc, I highly seek letterbox, because that's how I want to watch them. I want to watch them in the original aspect ratios, or at least in a anamorphic widescreen. And that's what's great about Criterion. You're always going to get that. You're always going to get the format that the movie was originally, aired in. That's the way it was released in the theater. So I'm just into all kinds of good stuff here. I could talk all day about this stuff. I don't know how long I want this thing going, but here's Mallrats. Pretty cool, huh? This is the Mallrats letterbox edition. Kevin Smith, obviously. Kind of a really 90s looking packaging right there. I love my lighting. I got my light over here, so it's a little bit better than my last video. My last video, everything was washed out. At least I got into this. Yeah, here's a couple of Kevin Smiths there, back to back. Here's Clerks, letterbox edition. For some reason, I thought Clerks was available on. Criterion on laser for some reason. I thought that was the version I had, but it's wrong. It's kind of in the corner's kind of messed up. I'd like to eventually find this again, but here's the back here. See, I don't know if it's Clerks or it's Mallrats or it's Chasing Amy. Which one of his movies have the commentary on it? One of these discs have a commentary where he talks about how, basically DVD can go screw itself. He's like laser disc forever kind of stuff. It's pretty funny. Sorry if I'm moving a little quick. I just want to get through a few things. Here's a cool one. I've talked about Pump Up the Volume before. Unfortunately, the only way this is available, that I believe, I've looked, I believe, and this is the only way it's available, is in pan and scan 133 to 1 aspect ratio, 4 to 3, full screen, whatever you want to call it. These are, that's the only way this is available, and this was not a very good transfer. It was basically VHS quality. It was pretty crappy. But I, if you remember about my review for Pump Up the Volume before, it was a bad. I didn't like the transfer on the freaking Blu-ray. So I mean, this movie, there must not be very many copies of it out there to get a good scan of it or something. I don't know. Back when this disc come out, it had to have been pretty new. There should have been. Here's an interesting one here. There's Top Secret. I have two copies of Top Secret. This is the pan and scan full frame version. And I have the widescreen version someplace. It's in another stack. This has one of those for some reason, has one of those real nice, thick. Some people live and die for these big, thick ones like this. I don't never buy them because they're expensive and they're kind of pointless. See, it has that flap on them. They're nice, don't get me wrong. They're really nice, but I've never... Did I show you the back there? That's what I like about Laserdisc. You get this big artwork and you can really see, you can really see everything, and you just don't get that anymore with albums and new music and old music. But let's see here. Oh, this was really cool. This is really cool. Unfortunately, it's the great movie. Look at that artwork on that Buckaroo Banzai. But this is just a pan and scan. This is like this is see when it says it says laser video disc on there, or sometimes they'll say laser video disc, or they'll say like Disco Vision, and that usually means that they're these are made in the 80s. This probably came out. Did I show you that good picture on the back? Look at that. Isn't that awesome? These are usually the pan and scan stuff was pretty much in the 80s. You've seen a lot of it until I think it's probably about I think the copyright probably ran out in about 88, and then 88 on is whenever they started. You start seeing your Criterion collection and stuff come out because they lost the copyright chain. Basically went into free market, so multiple companies could start producing stuff. Right? I don't exactly know how that works, but it kind of works like that. Here's an interesting one. There's Jurassic Park. I need to take that out. I'll pull that out of the cover. I think this might be the very first Laserdisc I bought. For some reason I bought this when I was messing around with thinking I was going to get into it. I was like, I'm gonna buy Jurassic Park because it would be a really interesting movie to have on Laserdisc. Let's see, here's the back. This is the letterbox edition, obviously. There is a box like of Jurassic Park that I've never bought, and I'll pick it up on these days. But this is what I talk about when you get Laserdisc. I haven't showed this yet because this is the first one that has this, really. But look at that. This is a really good shape. This sleeve is in really good shape. But essentially, this is the discs are back in here, and this is a 2-discer, so it's this is THX. A movie like this really took full advantage of a probably early to mid 90s home theater setup. and it's just really it's really cool. You know, it's still, the picture's not amazing because it's just the era, but it looks really, you know, it's a really good disc. It's a really good, that movie's really, this is a really nice set. I'm sorry, I'm at a loss for words here for a second. Even though I'm not, you know, I'm a much of a Spielberg fan as anybody else, but I don't go crazy over him, you know. But let's see what we got here. Okay, this is where the eagles dare. So there's the back side there. I think we'll probably wrap this session up. I just want to kind of see how everybody liked this. I want to come back to this. It's really fun. I'm getting a low battery warning for some reason on this camera. It's been fully charged, but I'm going to keep this video short. I just want to see how everybody likes these. You know, if everybody likes this format, then we'll. But well, I don't care if you like it or not. I'm gonna keep doing it. It's fun for me. It's fun for letting you guys see this, you know, different sections of my movies collection, and let you go through these movies. I know I didn't go through very many, but I don't want to make it. I could make this video 3 hours long if I wanted, and I don't want to do that. So thanks everybody for checking this out. Like, share, and subscribe. Please subscribe. It'd be really nice of you guys. I really appreciate it. I'll talk to you guys later.